Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Tasha M. Dyer, and I'm your host for this evening's Talk with the Finance Doctor, Dr. Craig Bythewood. I want to introduce to you all someone who is helping a tremendous amount of people, someone I have a tremendous amount of respect for. This gentleman has a PhD in finance, and he is a business partner of ours, and he is dedicated to helping us with this opportunity. So without further ado, what I want to do is turn this call over to our business partner, Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the call?
Yes, I am Tasha M. Dyer, and I'd like to thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you for always being on point, being plugged in, and always showing love and making me feel like I am as important as you say I am. So thank you, Tasha, for that introduction. So I would like to welcome everyone to a Talk with the Finance Doctor, your RX for 4X, with the concept being that there's a prescription that can be written right now to help ease any economic wounds you may be dealing with, and we can use that prescription to make you healthier, to make you walk in financial wellness. So a Talk with the Finance Doctor is an opportunity for us to really plug into why we are so appreciative about this iMarkets Live opportunity. When I talk about IML, one of the first things I like to say is that it took me exactly 13 minutes of hearing about this opportunity before I signed on the bottom line. I was extremely excited to have the opportunity to be a part of the IML experience, to have an opportunity to invest in the foreign exchange market, to have an opportunity to participate in a $5.4 trillion industry. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to explain to you exactly why my excitement level was so high. I would like to make you understand why someone like me, who is paid to analyze scenarios, would only take 13 minutes of analysis to say, yes, this opportunity is for me. Because not only is this opportunity for me, but this opportunity is really for anyone who is wise enough and blessed enough to be exposed to this and hear what it is and understand why it's so important. So let me start off with that $5.4 trillion. Why is that a big deal? Well, one of the things that I've done over my 25-year career as a financial and economic academician, as a CFO, as a consultant, as a financial planner, as a financial life coach. In all of those roles, I have a lot of opportunity to talk about investing and talk about what we should do with our excess dollars. And one of the things I talk about a lot is why the stock market is so different than the foreign exchange market. When we think about investing, when we think about the financial markets, we immediately think about stocks. Stocks are the sexy pick. They're the Kim Kardashian of financial investing. But the thing about stocks is that in order for you to do well with a particular stock market investment, you're relying on a particular company, or if you have a diversified portfolio, a particular set of companies to do well. And that is different than the foreign exchange market, when all you really need for the foreign exchange market to do well is activity. So let me do that again. In the stock market, I need a particular company or industry to do well. In the foreign exchange market, I only need activity. I only need volume. I only need individuals participating in the market, and that gives me enough onus to be able to make money. Now, if you're new to this environment and you're new to foreign exchange, as you begin to take advantage of the IML Academy, the educational platform that's set up, this will make more sense to you. But the bottom line is it's really different in terms of its infrastructure, in terms of its scope, and the foreign exchange gives you more opportunities. Let me go a little bit deeper. When I used to do investment seminars, one of the things I would talk about is parking lot management. To me, parking lot management is the concept that describes how you can literally look at a parking lot and you can use it as a basis for what companies to invest in. Let me share a small example ripped from the headlines of my life. When I was a younger man, I was going to a family member's birthday party. And the birthday party was in a city outside of Tampa called Brandon, Florida. And the party was at a place we've all heard of called Chuck E. Cheese. Now, in my experience as an individual who goes to parties at Chuck E. Cheese, I know you have to get there early because parking is at a premium. The parking lot is always full. And one of the reasons why the parking lot is always full at this Brandon Chuck E. Cheese is because the Chuck E. Cheese sits right next to a Kmart. So I drove into the parking lot expecting to have to park way in the back and make that long walk to Chuck E. Cheese. And I noticed that I was able to drive right up to the front and I was able to park in the second spot. So I said to myself, that's strange. So I looked over at the Kmart and I noticed that there weren't that many cars in Kmart, which was drastically different than what I had experienced before as a Chuck E. Cheese party goer. So then the party's over, and one of my family members asked if I would drop my cousin off further down Highway 60 in a small town called Valrico, Florida. So I said, sure, I'll do it. So I put the young man in my car, and I began to drive down Highway 60. As I was driving in the left lane, I noticed that the traffic was stopping almost to a standstill. And the reason why the traffic was stopping is because all these cars were turning into a turning lane, and there were so many cars going into this plaza that the traffic was backed up into the street. So I remember saying to myself, what is this place with this big blue sign that has so many people going into it that the traffic is feeding into the street? Well, the moment that I passed by the sign, I noticed that it said Walmart. So at that very moment, had I been wise enough to invest in this new blue sign store called Walmart, and I was able to take a position with Kmart called selling short. Selling short is just a fancy way of making money off a stock when it goes down. Normally you make money off a stock when it goes up. If I invested in Walmart at that moment, I would have rolled the wave up. But had I sold short Kmart at that moment, I would have rolled the wave down. So my point to you is twofold. Number one, that was an example of parking lot management, where I could look at what was happening in the Kmart parking lot and tell that that company was going down. And I could look at what was going on in this new company called Walmart, and I could see that things were going up. So my second point is that's what happens in the stock market. Yes, it's sexy. Yes, it's what we talk about when we talk about investing. But you've got to bet on a store doing the Walmart or doing the Kmart. And if you were to invest in either one of those companies today, there would be so little movement in it that you wouldn't make money in either scenario. Now we move to the foreign exchange market. So here's another example ripped from one of the headlines of my investing seminars. I was doing an investment seminar one time, and the subject was retirement planning. So one of the individuals said, I want to know how to asset allocate, which is a fancy way of saying, how do I take what's going into my retirement plan and invest in different types of categories? That's called diversifying your portfolio, point I made earlier. So one of the individuals in the room said this, I always make sure that I invest in the international market. So I posed the question, what's the international market? And they said, these are companies that instead of investing in their country, they invest in other countries. So I posed this question. I said, tell me one company that's big enough to have a stock, but only operates in their home country. Not one person could give me an example. So what ended up happening is that as we began to come up with this rule of always take a percentage of your money and invest in international markets, we didn't recognize that the trends were changing to the point where there are no more domestic companies. Every domestic company or every company that's based in a particular country, they do business in other countries. Think about how many call centers now are in India. So it's an American company, but they do business in other countries. So I said all that to say this. On a daily basis, every single company is going to be buying a supply in another country, paying for an employee in a different country, purchasing a product in a different country. So literally all day, every day, companies are buying money or buying things using money in different countries. And guess what? That's what foreign exchange is. How many times have you been to the airport and you see a little booth, and the booth has what's called currency exchange? Currency exchange is the booth that's responsible for buying and selling currency, so that when one person goes from their country to another country traveling, they can buy the currency they're going to be using. And when people come back, then they're going to sell the excess currency that they have so they can get back the currency in their country. That happens all day, every day. Think about it. When you fly domestically, they tell you to be there 2 hours early. If you fly internationally, they tell you to be there 4 hours early. Why? Because there's so many more people traveling internationally. So the point I'm making is simple. Every single day, people are buying and selling currency because they're traveling. Every single day, companies are buying and selling currency because they're doing business worldwide. $5.3 trillion. So back to the Walmart and the Kmart, I've got to find the company that's doing well or find the company that's doing poorly. But in foreign exchange, I don't have to find anything. All I have to do is participate. One of the things I do on a regular basis is I mentor teenagers. And teenagers have a tendency to make a lot of assumptions. Why didn't you do that? Well, I assumed it was this. Well, how come you did that? Well, I assumed it was that. They always say that. So one of the little bifodisms that I have for teenagers is this. Rather than stand on the sideline and predict what's going to happen, get on the field and be prepared no matter what happens. Rather than stand on the sideline and predict what's going to happen, get on the field and be prepared no matter what happens. And that to me is such an appropriate example for this difference between the stock market and the foreign exchange market. With the stock market, you have to predict what you think is going to happen to a company or an industry. With the foreign exchange market, you just have to be down. You just have to be in the game. You just have to be on the field. And that, my friends, is why this IML experience is so wonderful, because they're giving you an opportunity to be on the field. Now, let me tell you a little bit of my history so that you understand exactly why I'm so excited that I have the opportunity to be on this foreign exchange field. I'm 51 years old. I graduated with my PhD in finance when I was 26 years old. I went to undergrad at Howard University and majored in finance. I went to the University of Florida and received my PhD in finance and economics 25 years ago. Now, one of the things that I was very, very interested in is I wanted to be an individual who knew how to invest my money. And I decided early on in my financial career that the two areas I wanted to invest in were unique areas. I wanted to invest in options and I wanted to invest in the foreign exchange market. So I decided to educate myself so that I would know what to do, so I would know how to do it. I decided to take myself on my own educational trip to make sure I was prepared to do it. We have a business partner named Bass Grant, and he says this all the time. He says, it's better to be ignorant and on fire than to be prepared and on ice. Well, hear me when I tell you, I reverse engineered that quote. because I wanted to make sure that I was prepared to the extent of over preparing. So it took me 10 years before I decided I was ready to invest in these markets. So from age 26 to age 36, I was in the lab, the self-imposed lab, preparing myself for investing. Now I wanted to come correct. So what I did was I created a mastermind group. Literally, there is power in groups. There's power in collected consciousness. So recognizing that, I surrounded myself with several individuals like me who were academicians, who studied investing, who had done investing, who understood all the principles, and I put together this mastermind group, and we created an investment group. Now, hear me when I tell you the business plan was tight. All of these individuals with all this brain power, we had an excellent business model, and we were ready to invest in the options market and the foreign exchange market. Now, in order for you to participate in any market, you have to do so through a broker. Here's a quick example. My children had basketball practice tonight. And right after basketball practice, I was asked to go to the grocery store. And I went to go get some lettuce. Why was I getting lettuce and other vegetables like that? I drink a vegetable juice every day, and we were out. So I went to the grocery store and purchased several types of vegetables. Now think about it. That was a transaction between me and a vegetable farmer. I've never met the vegetable farmer. I don't know where the farm is, because it would be inefficient for me to time my vegetable purchase so that it worked perfectly with when the harvest was, and for them to be able to package it and get it to me, it would have been inefficient on both sides. So there's an intermediary. There's a market that exists. We call it the supermarket. Well, the same thing happens in finance. The same thing happens with money. It's more efficient when you're trading money for you to have a middle ground, to have an institution that's in the middle to allow the investor and the investee to come together. So that in the financial market, instead of being called Publix, or instead of being called Safeway or Piggly Wiggly or wherever you are, it's called an intermediary or a broker. So the first thing that we had to do was we had to find a broker so that we could use that intermediary in order to participate in the financial market, in order to participate in the foreign exchange market. I remember this day like it was yesterday, because we sat there with our wonderful business plan and this room full of academic, intellectual giants, and we were told, in order for us to invest in the foreign exchange market, it was going to cost us a minimum balance. We had to maintain and hold a minimum balance of $1 million. And one broker even told us that we had to have a minimum of $3 million in order to participate in their particular scenario. So that, to me, was a dream I had that I sat for 10 years preparing, but now that dream was dead. Because at that moment, we didn't have $1 million. But today, in 2018, I recognized that that was not a dream that died, it was a dream deferred. Because now, what cost me and my mastermind group $1 million, you can do for $250. Let's just stop and think about that for a second. You have an opportunity to invest in the foreign exchange market. You have an opportunity to be taught a skill, that you can share with your children, that they will always have no matter what happens in the future. You have an opportunity to learn that through the IML opportunity. And IML is wise enough to put together an educational platform called IML Academy, which is excellent in its delivery system. There's an African proverb that says, how does an ant eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. The IML opportunity is put together so smooth because they put it in little bite-sized nuggets where you learn a particular skill and you go through different modules, and the modules are very, very bite-sized. So it never seems like an elephantitic process. It's always little small ant bites. So it's easy for you to recognize it. Now think about this. It's clear that I was excited about the opportunity to do something that I wanted to do 15 years ago. But one of the things I wanted to make sure of was that those individuals that don't have my investment background, that don't have my finance and economics background, I wanted to ensure that they would be able to get a good opportunity to learn this skill and invest. So I decided to vet IML Academy, to vet IML's educational platform to ensure that it would be user-friendly. I was very impressed. And then I posed this question to myself. How many hours would it take for an individual with no investment training whatsoever to be able to learn this and be able to participate in a meaningful way? So after doing that, after doing this research, I'm also a person that's taught curriculum and written curriculum in my career. So me asking this question, I came up with this number, 10 hours. It would literally take you a total of 10 hours, 10 total hours to be able to feel comfortable to begin in your demo account and feel good about understanding what you were doing and why you were doing it. Another one of my Bythwoodisms, if you know what you are doing, you will always have a job. But if you know why you are doing it, you will always be the boss. If you know what you are doing, you will always have a job. But if you know why you are doing it, you will always be the boss. So the IML Academy does an excellent job of giving you the opportunity to understand what and why. Add to that the fact that they have IML TV, where you can now connect with individuals who are actually doing this, have been doing this for years, and you can watch them giving you one-on-one training, almost like you're watching a television show that's going to help you make money. The IML Academy and IML TV together is wonderful. Now let's pause for a second. Let's pause and think about what I just said to you. It would have cost me $1 million to invest in the foreign exchange market. But you, my friend, can do so for $250. It took me 10 years to prepare myself educationally to be able to take advantage of this investment opportunity. You can do it in 10 hours. So what a wonderful opportunity that has been brought on by technology and by the wonderful founders of this company. That what took Craig Bythewood 10 years and $1 million now can be done for 10 hours and $250. I hope you recognize how big this is, how huge this is. You literally have an opportunity right now to do something that will reverberate for generations to come, that literally can put yourself in the best position. I mentioned earlier that my children had basketball practice today. Well, one of my daughters, she also plays flag football. And when she would go to flag football practice, I would attend the practice. And one of the things I noticed is that they had the same single pattern every single practice. What they would do during a 2-hour practice is from the beginning of the practice until 90 minutes later, they would do drills. They would do the same type of scenarios over and over and over. They would practice. Let's do this skill. Now let's do this technique. Now let's do this. Now the last 30 minutes of practice were the most exciting, because that's when they started to have actual games. They actually would put on the flags and they would do all the things that they worked on for 90 minutes. Now, if you think about it, as the season goes on, these young ladies know how to play football. They actually ended up being number 20 in the state. So they were a very good team. They only lost 2 games the entire season. But they always made sure they did their drills first, and then they played, and then they made it real, and then they scrimmaged. What's your point, Finance Doctor? My point is that that same wise philosophy is being implemented in iMarkets Live, because they recognize how important it is that you do your drills first, how important it is that you sharpen your technique up first before it's live. So the way IML has it set up is you do a demo account first. So literally you will trade pretend money, so to speak, so that you feel comfortable and you're going through the drill and your muscle memory kicks in and you start to understand, oh, okay, I see why that worked. Oh, okay, I see why that didn't work. There's an African proverb, nothing is learned through success. So you're supposed to stumble a little bit. You're supposed to see some trades that do well and see some trades that do poorly so you can learn from that. And then when it's time to scrimmage, when it's time to use real money, you're in there. Now let's go one step further. I made it very clear that this is an opportunity that I wish I had 15 years ago. $1 million, 10 years. You, $250 and 10 hours. Well, think about this. You even have the opportunity, if you play this right, to get IML to pay for your trading. What? How can that be? Well, we have an infrastructure that teaches you how to build your business. It's simple, it's easy, it's done as a group, and it's duplicatable. If you find just 2 people to sign up with you, then you never pay a monthly fee. And if you continue to share this experience with people, you continue to bring them to calls like a Talk with the Finance Doctor. If you follow this duplicatable process, if you follow this business building infrastructure, then as you begin to get monthly income from building your business, you can use that to trade. So literally, you are in a situation where you can do something right now that is off the chart. You can do something that is so beyond what other people can do. Now, one of the things that happens a lot when I talk about this is that people kind of get set in their own ways. They kind of get set in the patterns. And we don't recognize this, but sometimes we are in positions where we're so used to not doing something that when we have an opportunity to get to the other side, we don't take advantage of it. Let me give you an example to make this point I'm making a little bit more clear. One of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs. And I've watched that movie multiple times. And the first few times I watched Silence of the Lambs, I didn't follow my own Bythwoodism. I knew what Silence of the Lambs was, but I never asked the question, why is it called Silence of the Lambs? So when I finally posed that question to myself, I watched it again, but this time focusing on that. There's one small scene in there where Hannibal is talking to the detective, the female detective played by Jodie Foster. And in this particular scene, she's telling him about an experience she had when she grew up on a farm. In this experience, they had lambs that they would slaughter for meat. And so what they would do is they would lock the gate, and the lambs would be in there inside the gate. So then what they would do is they would open up the gate, they would get one of the lambs, they would go slaughter it, and they would lock the gate back. So what ended up happening is that the lambs began to get so conditioned to what was happening that they started leaving the gate open. But the lambs wouldn't go anywhere. They were so conditioned to just showing up every day until they get slaughtered that they didn't even have to lock the gate. So the point I'm making here is we do that sometimes. Sometimes we're so used to living paycheck to paycheck. We're so used to the struggle. We're so used to it that the gate is open. IML is giving you a gate to escape. IML is giving you an opportunity to go through the gate to freedom. But we're silent. We stay right there. We don't move. The Silence of the Lambs is a powerful movie for a lot of reasons, and that's why, because it speaks to our human condition. So one of the things I love doing when talking about this concept is I like taking financial concepts, I like taking investment concepts and using them as a mechanism to teach mindset. Because I know that I can show you all day how great the gate is, how great it is outside the gate. But if you're going to be silent and not go through the gate, it really doesn't matter. So I wanted to leave you with something to help you with your mindset. One of the most important concepts in finance, in investment market, financial markets, is resistance. Resistance is something that happens in a financial pattern that is an indicator of a particular financial pattern beginning to go on an incline. For example, let's suppose you're looking at a chart. What is a chart? A chart is simply a combination of variables of time and price or return. So when I say price and return, I mean the way a particular market is going up. So you're looking at time versus return. So when you look at these charts, you'll notice that when a particular pattern is established with a particular type of financial vehicle, whether it's foreign exchange or investments or options or stocks, all of the above follow this. When it's about to break out into a new pattern, meaning it's doing this now, and it's about to do this, right before it changes, it meets resistance. It hits an amount and it stops, and it hits another amount and stops. That resistance is the indicator that it's about to go up. It's about to incline. So individuals that study charts, they understand that when you see resistance in a particular area, then you know that's the time to invest. And if you go back and look at the past charts, you'll see right before every incline, right before any great movement, there's resistance. And just for the record, because foreign exchange is set up, where you can make money on the upturn and the downturn, the same thing happens when it goes into a downturn. Resistance, 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 boom, and then it shoots down. So I said all of that to say this. You ever thought about the fact that 75% of our earth is water and 75% of our bodies are water? And oftentimes we operate like the energy around us. Say it's a full moon and certain people act a certain way. Think about the word lunatic. Lunar from the moon is right in there. So my point to you is there are patterns in the earth that reflect the way we operate from a pattern perspective. And the same thing happens with financial markets. Just like there's a resistance right before there's a big move, just like there's resistance right before there's a big move in the markets, the same thing happens with us. The same thing happens in our life. Oftentimes we'll hit a resistance, boom, boom, boom. And the resistance that we're hitting in our lives, the emotional resistance, the situational resistance, what people around us are saying, that resistance is an indicator that something big is about to go down, that you're about to make a huge incline. But oftentimes we just don't do it. We don't recognize it. We focus on the resistance. We complain about the resistance, and we stay right there in the gate, not taking advantage of the freedom that's being offered us by the opportunities in our life, like iMarkets Live. So I just want you to think about places in your life where you may be feeling resistance right now. In a relationship, in an opportunity that's right in front of you, with a child. And if you think about it, that resistance could be your indicator that on the other side of that is something huge. So anywhere you're feeling resistance, especially if it's with the IML experience, I bet that's your indicator. I bet that's you telling you that, you know what, this is the incline. This is where it can all change. This is where I can put myself in another position. I just have to walk out of the gate. I just have to take advantage of this. And if I do it and I keep pushing through, I'm going to experience a huge incline. My final point. I understand that this is new and is unique. We weren't expecting to talk about foreign exchange a year ago. We weren't expecting, based on the things that we do on a regular basis, to be able to invest in a $5.3 trillion market. But here we are. Here we are in a situation where we're about to change the paradigm on ourselves. So I'd like to share with you a story. I delivered a speech at a church about 10 years ago. I went to the speech with my 3 daughters, and they were very young. 2 of them were in car seats at the time. So they were very good at during the speech. They sat there, they listened to me. It was great. But then we went to go get something to eat. Now, this particular church was in a place called Clearwater, Florida. And ironically, I was on the same street that I was in Brandon, Highway 60, just a different part of it. If anybody's ever heard of Clearwater Beach, which was just named the #1 beach in America, it's the street that Clearwater Beach is on. So we're going down Highway 60, and we stop at a place called Smoky Bones. We go in and we get our barbecue on. When we finish eating the barbecue, I'm tired, they're whiny. It's Sunday afternoon, let's go home. I get in my truck. Now let me set this up for you. Smoky Bones sits in a plaza right outside of Highway 60. There's a road coming out of Smoky Bones parking lot, and it feeds into I-60. Smoky Bones, parking lot, road. So what happened is there's a lot of stuff in this plaza. If you've ever been on Highway 60, or if you go in the future and you see the Smoky Bones, you said, that's what Dr. B was talking about. So I came out of the parking lot, and my truck is going this way. So my objective is to make a left turn, go to Highway 60, and then go on home. That was my objective. However, the road going this way to Highway 60 was clear. But the road going this way onto Highway 60 was full of cars. It was Sunday afternoon. People were shopping, people were eating. The plaza was very crowded. So when I got to this spot, ready to turn left, I noticed there were 14 cars lined up in a line. So first car, second car, third car, fourth car, all the way to 14. So as I sat there, tired from the speech, tired from the barbecue, I was going to make a right turn, and I was going to get behind the 14th car, and I was going to be the 15th car. As I was just about to put on my blinker and turn right, that voice that we always hear after some resistance, that voice that tells us to walk through the gate that's open, that voice that tells us that iMarkets Live is the opportunity for you, that voice said to me, practice what you preach. And in that moment, I knew exactly what that voice was saying to me. So instead of making a right turn and becoming the 15th car, I simply drove in between the third and fourth car. I went behind Jared's Jewelers, and I made a right on the Highway 60. Now watch this. After I made the right turn on the Highway 60, I looked back, and I still could see in my rearview mirror those 14 cars lined up. And at that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks that this is an analogy for life. There are so many people standing in a line of inefficiency, doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. There's so many people standing in a line of inefficiency, living from paycheck to paycheck, getting a job, keeping a job, getting paid less than they expect to get paid, and they keep doing it over and over and over because everybody else is doing it. There's so many lambs that are silent, that literally stand in the line. Now, hear me. I'm no better because I was just about to be the 15th car. I was comfortable being the 15th car in a line of inefficiency before I realized I could be the first car. And what really stood out to me is that I've turned right, and that first car is still sitting there. They're still waiting to merge, because sometimes when we stand in these lines of inefficiency, it just slows our energy up. We're just doing everything everybody else is doing the same way I did for 10 years. I slowed myself up for 10 years trying to be prepared, waiting on the right moment when all I had to do was turn. So how many of us are standing in lines of inefficiency doing the same thing as everyone else? When at that moment, guess what I did? I went in a different direction. I went in a different direction, and I was able to get there quicker. I was able to get there more efficiently. So I want you to really think about ways in which you are standing in a line of inefficiency, when instead you have an opportunity to go in a different direction. How many of us have been silent lambs for too long? The gate is open, y'all. It's available. We have an opportunity to invest in a $5.4 a day trillion-dollar industry. We have an opportunity to do even more, because with the existence of cryptocurrency, which has just been added to the IML platform, it's even larger. We have an opportunity to take advantage of IML Academy's educational platform. We have an opportunity to learn a skill that can put us on the other side of wealth and abundance. So instead of standing in a line of inefficiency and doing the same thing over and over, go in a different direction. Thank you so much for your attention tonight.
Thank you so much, Finance Doctor, for the information that you poured into us this evening. As always, I just appreciate everything that you do and everything that you have said. And for our guests on the line, I don't want to be before you long, but I do want to highlight just a few of the things that the Finance Doctor did point out. So bear with me for just a moment as I pull up some information. Just bear with me 1 second as I pull up this information. I just want to highlight just a few of the things that the Finance Doctor was referring to in the information that he shared this evening. So the name of the company that we are talking about and that this educational platform is referring to is iMarkets Live. So what the Finance Doctor has been highlighting is this cash flow quadrant. And what we do with this cash flow quadrant is the majority, if you look at the numbers on this chart, the majority of us have been sitting in the employee side where we work and trade dollars for hours. But what we actually want to do is show you how to move to the 1%, show you how to transition to an investor quadrant, to where your money actually begins working for you. Now, what is the foreign exchange market? The foreign exchange market is simply where you trade one currency for another. This market is trading over $5.3 trillion a day on average. So with the addition of the cryptocurrency, we heard the Finance Doctor say we now have the cryptocurrency. So with the addition of cryptocurrency, that is now trading at over $11.3 trillion a day. Now, what is iMarkets Live? iMarkets Live is a first-class education system. This is an education platform. We are right at 5 years of being in business, of being in service. So we are operating in 120 countries, and we are debt-free and privately owned. Now, leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. We have a tremendous corporate leadership team. Chris Terry, our CEO, Chris Terry is a CEO. He has a heartbeat for people. And when I say he has a heartbeat, we heard the Finance Doctor talk about how much he would have had to invest, how much he would have had to place to get started with this information, to get started learning how to trade and participate in the foreign exchange market. So what Chris Terry has done, he has over 20 years experience trading millions of dollars. And what Chris Terry has done, he has put together an affordable platform to where this now is available, this education is available to everyone. And he put together a strong leadership team. And then we have our leaders like Mr. Gerald D. Rogers, who is actually our coach and our mentor. We have Isaac Bird, Pastor Isaac Bird Jr., who does a phenomenal job on Tuesdays and Thursdays, training us and teaching us on the tools and the systems, who had absolutely no foreign exchange experience prior to this opportunity. And then we have Dr. Craig Bythewood, who we just heard from, who is here to have a talk with us on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Now, since January, in less than 6 months, we literally have changed the lives of over 650 families. And the next family is yours. All you have to do is make that decision tonight. Make that decision tonight. We have a strong leadership team available here for you, and we are ready to help you take you to the next level. Now, what makes us unique? The services, of course, I have to tell you, they're not guaranteed. But we do not handle your trades, and we do not handle your money. iMarkets Live does not earn any money off of your trade account. You can enter and exit trades at any time. So whatever you trade, whatever you decide to trade, you actually earn. That is your money. That is your profit. iMarkets Live is not earning money off of that. The goal is literally to educate you and empower you. So what tools? The finance doctor mentioned the IML Academy. So the IML Academy, what this is this is where our foundation of our education starts. We go to a university, we go to school, we want to be educated. So beginning with this educational platform, we will start with this IML Academy. This is where you learn to be a trader. It is basic to advanced. So whether you have no experience with the foreign exchange market or you already have experience, no matter what your level is, it will take you from basic to advanced. Then we also have iMarkets Live TV. Now, iMarkets Live TV, this is where you actually get to interact with live traders. This is where you actually get to interact with expert traders. These are not market theorists. These are actually expert traders who have taken the time and they're trading. That is what they're doing. So, and if you miss a live session, guess what? They leave the videos recorded for you so you can actually go back and watch it whenever you get an opportunity to do so. Then we have the harmonic scanner. What the harmonic scanner does, these are the same types of tools the banks use, but we just said these are privately owned. This is an iMarket Live tool, but this scans the market. It scans for precise entry points. It increases your confirmation. It increases the accuracy so you can have a successful trade. So your trade is increased to 85 to 90%. So this is the software that scans the market. It gives you the entry. It gives you the exit. It lets you know exactly what you need to do to have a successful trade. And then we have the web analyzer. Now, what this tool actually does is it customizes based on your personality, and it actually helps customize your entry points. So it gives you precise entry points, and it helps you develop a trading strategy that works for you. Now, swing trades. We just told you that the CEO has a heartbeat. He has a heartbeat for people. So he is literally still actively trading, and he sends out trade alerts weekly. That is what our CEO does. So he is still actively engaged in your success. Now, how awesome is that? And then we have swipe trades. In school, they told us copying and pasting is not something we wanted to do. Don't copy off of your neighbor. But if we have an expert trader, somebody that's been trained and that actually does this for a living, that is actually sending out trade alerts, we can actually copy and paste what they're doing so we can actually earn while we learn. That is what a swipe trade is. So you literally need no experience. And then we also have coin trades for the cryptocurrency market. So once again, for For the foreign exchange market and the cryptocurrency market, you can earn while you learn. We talked about training and support. So how do you get started? You get the IML Academy, IML TV, Harmonic Scanner, Daily Swing Trades, but also add the web analyzer and the swipe trades with taxes, fees, and everything as $250 to get started and enroll tonight. And then we have 2 and free. So you share this with 2 individuals like yourself that want change, 2 paying customers you share this information with, and guess what? You now waive your monthly subscription. You have 2 paying customers and your monthly subscription is free as long as you remain a customer. Now, what I'm going to discuss right now is completely optional. Everybody has an opportunity to learn a new skill set, take advantage of this information, and change the dynamics of your financial situation. You can earn money the same way the banks do. That is why we call it the BYOB. Be your own bank. You can be your own bank for life. However, if you want to position yourself to earn residual income for an additional $15, you can become an independent business owner. Now, when you become an independent business owner, once again, this is optional. We do not earn money off of your trade account. However, you begin earning team builder bonuses. So for $5, $10, and $35, you will begin earning team builder bonuses. And you will also begin earning residual income. I'm going to start right here with Platinum 150. At Platinum 150, you personally refer 3 customers within your organization. That's going to put a residual income of $150 a month in your pocket. That's $37.50 a week. So you're now earning residually. That is not money that you had to go to work for. So residually, you're earning $150 a month. And then at Platinum 600, which is 12 customers in your organization, you see the difference. At Platinum 150, you personally referred 3 customers, and at Platinum 600, you accumulated 12 customers in your organization, and that put you in a position to earn $600 a month. That is residual income. And in Platinum 1000, you are now earning $1,000 a month. And what I want to highlight, because we have other positions in between there, but I want to highlight Chairman 10. At Chairman 10, you have 500 customers in your organization, and that is $10,000 a month. That's $10,000 that you are earning a month at Chairman 10. So what are you going to get? You're going to get the leadership, the products, the education. You're going to get the platform, and you're going to get all the support that you need. So right here, every time we share this information, we hear this talk and we share this information, we always have 3 types of people. The first type of person says, you know what? When I heard the talk from the finance doctor, I knew that I needed to change the dynamics. I was ready. I'm ready to change the dynamics of my family's financial situation and become my own bank. If that's you, get back with the person that invited you out and get enrolled. The second person says, I'm ready to become my own bank, but I still have questions. Get back with the person that invited you out. Get your questions answered from the expert, the one that's having success, and we can get you enrolled so you can be your own bank. And the third person says, you know what? I'm ready to be my own bank, and I'm also ready to earn residual income. If that's you, get back with the person that invited you out, and we will also get enrolled, and we look forward to working with each and every last one of you all. So with that being said, I'm going to end this call. I want you all to have a blessed evening. Get back with the person that invited you to this call, get enrolled, and we will get you properly launched and enrolled and show you how to become your own bank. Have a blessed evening, and this officially concludes this call.